Coming up on the show, living with diabetes. High beef prices, low dairy payouts, what are the consequences? And the biggest birthday party for Hamilton. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Tuesday the 18th of November. I'm Hilary Entwistle. New Zealand is facing an epidemic when it comes to type 2 diabetes. And don't be fooled, the disease can be fatal if not kept under control. So, is it just about sugar?
So people think that in diabetes, sugar's a baddie. It is, but one of the elements that we need to consider is actually what is carbohydrate, because carbohydrate is the food group that breaks down into glucose in the body, and that is actually where a lot of our problems lies. So when somebody has a pie, the pastry's got carbohydrate in, a lot of starch, and actually that pie will put blood sugars up. Now, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think it's just about the fizzy drinks and the lollies and the cakes and the biscuits. They're right, but actually it's also your bread, your rice, your pasta, and all those kind of things. Rice is one of the worst things for putting blood sugars up. And people, I know way back in the UK where I'm from, we would have curry and rice, and we'd have a lot of rice and a little bit of curry. But all the time, that rice is actually changing into carbohydrate, well, it's carbohydrate, changing into glucose, putting blood sugars up. So when that adds to the already high blood sugars because of diabetes, you get a massive hyperglycemia.
What does Diabetes Help Tauranga do?
Diabetes Help Tauranga has been around for about 25, 26 years. And more recently, they've employed a field worker, that's myself. And we're out in the community, we're educating, we're raising awareness, we're offering support and advice, and we're offering an advocacy, because often people with diabetes, they don't know what services are available to them. And we have some amazing services in the Bay Plenty. We've got pre-diabetes courses, diabetes courses, day, night, different days. There's availability, and for people to get on those courses, they can find out everything they need to know about diabetes, and to realise that diabetes does not control them. They control diabetes, but they have to take ownership of it, and they have to try to do something about it. Diabetes Help is a wonderful organisation. We've got lots of really good volunteers who are all either got diabetes themselves or are parents of people with diabetes. We've got about 20 parents with type 1 children, and it's just an amazing group of people that really, really believe we can make a difference in diabetes in the Bay Plenty.
And Tiana, you actually have your own personal experience with type 2 diabetes. And tell me about this.
I'm a bit of a personal story, really, Hilary. I mean, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 14 years ago, and because of medicines I was taking to help me with that arthritis, what they call got induced diabetes. So I didn't know. My sugar levels were pretty high for a long time, and then my doctor pulled me in, and I didn't know anything about diabetes. So, and I didn't manage it very well. I don't know if I actually came to Diabetes Tauranga Help. I just don't know. I probably was oblivious to it. I was in denial. But I had 2 heart attacks, one after the other, and because I wasn't managing this very well. And so that kind of made me realise I need to do something about this. So, yeah, it was pretty, I didn't know, and I was in denial. But as the years have gone on, I've kind of realised what I need to do. And so in my role as a health promotion coordinator, I'm fortunate that I can go out and educate and inform people. Talk to whānau, because it's prevalent in Māori, so we're always, I'm always educating and always talking about it, really. So it's had a huge effect on my lifestyle, really.
What are some of the long-term complications then?
Well, I mean, Māori, we gather all the time and have lovely big fat feeds. And, we had one last night, there were about 35 of us. So, I'm watching my diet. I mean, my exercise, I was always really tired, but then I had my arthritis, so I wasn't sure. So, yeah, it has huge impact. I mean, I'm not as active, or wasn't as active like I used to be. So I've had to get all that going in myself as well. Just knowing and being aware, really learning all these new things. So it's had a huge impact, really. But like Debbie said, it doesn't have to have that big impact on your life. You can manage it well if you can. if you're able to.
Tiana, what would be your message around diabetes to the average New Zealander?
I think if you've got any indications, Debbie talked about it earlier, if you're becoming a lot more thirsty and things like that, go to your doctor, go and see your doctor, go and see your nurse. Have some tests done, if it's in your family, if it's genetic, just go and get tested to see if you have got diabetes. It's really important to be aware and to manage well.
Would you suggest if we do have any of those risk factors, say we're Māori, we're Pacific Island, we're overweight, we actually just go to the doctor and get ourselves tested anyway?
Yeah, definitely. We next Tuesday we have a quick risk assessment form that people are ticking. So, one of those, some of those questions are, do you think you're overweight? Are you not that active? Are you a smoker? Are you a couple of ethnicities, Māori, Asian, Polynesian, Pacific Islander? So yeah, if you're ticking those boxes, definitely. And I guess that's where I come into it, because I'm from here, everyone knows me, and I can talk to people about that kind of thing. So yeah, I would.
Debbie, what's your message to the average New Zealander when it comes to diabetes?
I think it's great having Tiana in the role that she's doing, because she can engage with people who previously we haven't been able to engage with. But the message is that diabetes can be managed. In some cases, it can be prevented, and that's why Sport Bay Plenty have recently started a pre-diabetes course, because the boundaries can be pulled back. You don't have to develop diabetes, but if you don't go and do something about it, then it will develop, and you may not know it's developing. So you're in charge here. If you're listening to this interview today, then go to your doctor or your practice nurse if you think that you are at risk of diabetes. As Tiana said, if you're over 40 or 45, if you've had some of those risk factors, take responsibility for this. There used to be a lot of blame associated with diabetes. You've eaten the wrong foods, you're overweight, and a lot of guilt. And people hide away in their closet when guilt's around, and they don't want to say to the doctor, I think I may have a problem in this area. And Kiwis especially are very reluctant to actually get up and do something. But this is a message to, you don't want to end up losing your sight or ending up on dialysis or with an amputation. You don't want to end up even with diabetes, full stop. So do something about it now. You can make a difference.
The most important part when being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes is that you get support. And you can find that through Diabetes Help Tauranga. Coming up next on Central News, I talk with federated farmers about high beef prices and low milk payouts. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. Beef prices are high and milk payouts are low. I caught up with Stu from Federated Farmers Waikato to find out what this could all mean. Stu, the payout for dairy at the moment is quite low. Beef prices are skyrocketing, one might say.
Yeah.
Why are we still seeing such a huge number of conversions into dairy farming?
Because there was a point in time there where the returns from sheep and beef were not sufficient for another land use, which is dairy farming. Now the prices have come back up and the dairy prices have gone down. You've got some instances in New Zealand whereas there would be more margin if it stayed as a sheep and beef because of the beef prices as they are now. The wool prices have come up a bit as well, and of course there's still a good buoyant market for our New Zealand lamb. We still have a lot of people in the world who want New Zealand lamb because they know it is grown on pasture.
So are there some farmers out there that are kind of regretting going to the milk?
Possibly yes, because when you convert a farm, you've got to borrow a chunk of money. Okay, and so you built new infrastructure, new cow shed, feeding pads, subdividing the paddocks, water troughs. There's a huge investment required to convert. And when you plan for a payout that's going for your debt servicing more than what it is now, and then your debt servicing really gets a bit of a problem to service because you're not earning the money that you thought you were going to get. And so you go through a period of borrowing more money to pay off short-term overdraft debt, and so you go nowhere fast compared to if you're just left as a sheep and beef farm. But conversely, that could change in a few years' time when you get back up to the $18, $9 payouts, if that will happen. At the moment, the world is rich place at the present time, and so possibly being we are commodity orientated, $7 or $8 will be a sustainable return for kilogram of solids.
33% of the dairy herd in New Zealand, the national dairy herd, is in the East Waikato.
Yes.
Does that mean then that we're possibly looking at a bit of a, not a poor time, but I guess tightening our pockets?
Yes, all our towns in East Waikato, whether it's Tiaraha, Minesville, Matamata, they are rural servicing towns, and they require for the farming families, whether it's sheep and beef, dairy or whatever, to spend $1 in town. We know $1 spent by a farmer goes around 5 times. Now we're getting to a situation where the cash flows are going to be tight on farm because the advances are low. So farming families will tie out and just manage their farm, and discretionary spend will reduce. Therefore, we do not spend many $1 in town, and there'll be many $1 that won't go around 5 times. And so your retailers, whether it's your tractor servicing or your sports shops, because farmers like to go fishing and that type of thing, that's where the hurt will be. It will be in the retailing area of our small towns. And and I was just going to say, in our small towns, we have a lot of good volunteer work. So whether it's a scout group or whether it's your kindergarten, and they go to retailers in town, and when the economy is buoyant and farmers are spending, they have got a nice margin in their business, and they want to promote their business by making their name go on a prize. Well, that is now a very hard situation for these volunteer groups to get sponsorship, because the whole money going around is slowed down. That's where the ramifications are. Yes, there will be a few farming families that will be under scrutiny with their banks, but there will not be many going to the wall, as been predicted by your analysts when they get asked about the global dairy trade going down. Yeah.
If you were to have a young farmer in front of you now,
Yes.
Ben, and he said, or she,
Yes.
said,
Yes.
I want to convert to dairy, would you recommend it?
A person starting out in the industry or buying a farm, because we have a problem in that agriculture is not being portrayed as being a good industry to have a career in, and we're 65% of this country's income, so I don't know why that's not logical to do so. And so we're finding it hard to get people with the right attitude to go farming. It is tough, but in today's world, you need young men and young women, and we have a lot of young women now in leadership roles, and they do a very good job. They need to have an avenue of getting somewhere. So there'll always be a opportunity to own your own business in farming. But you've got to have a bit more nous than you did years ago of just slogging it out. You've got to have a bit of a brain as well.
So then would you suggest, if I said to you, I want to get into farming, I want to own my own business, would you suggest dairy or beef and sheep?
Well, if you like shearing and whatever, but certainly dairying is more one-person orientated. Sheep and beef, you do need to have a good family partnership, so 2 or 3 people to run a 1,200-acre sheep and beef farm. So there's opportunity there. The world needs food. We've got 7.5 billion people in the world now. By 2050, we've got 9.5. In 1997, we reached a point in the world where we are now producing more food from a lesser area of land to produce it. So there will always be a market for the product we produce. We've got to be in a situation that we can still be a low-cost producer, because we're so far in the South Pacific that we've still got a cost of getting to our products overseas. But we produce a food, the world needs food. If we don't produce enough food, what you see people fight over it. So we have to produce it. And then if you produce a good food, then you can make a very comfortable living. But it requires a lot of energy and physical input, as well as administrative now that probably farming farmers didn't really need 50 years ago. But in today's world, you're putting a lot of money up to get some return.
And I guess if I lived in the Waikato, I had a farm, I had my beef and sheep farm, and I said, hey, I want to convert to dairy.
Yes.
Would you say it's a good idea now?
It's a good idea if off the swamps, you do your work. Is it going to be a return on your investment? Is it going to fit in with your aspirations? Yes, conversions went on because financially it was going to earn more money from a given area than the sheep and beef. That's when the prices in the dairy industry were buoyant. Right now, but then again, of course, everybody has a different career choice. All around our area, we've got people in different career choices. It's up to you whether you want to not get up at 4:30 every morning to milk cows, but do you want to keep on walking around the hills doing your lamb beats and that type of thing? It's up to you. It's a career choice, but any career choice in agriculture is a good choice.
After the break, your weather for Wednesday and the 150th birthday celebrations for Hamilton City. Welcome back to Central News. Planning is well underway for Hamilton's 150th birthday celebrations, happening in the Hamilton CBD on November the 22nd.
Well, I think the first thing is the biggest birthday cake they've ever seen. Apparently it's 2 metres high. It's going to be enormous, and there's going to be 2,000 pieces of cake. So that alone is worth a look. So look, this is a family-friendly day. Come along, it's free for everyone. The streets are going to be shut down in the CBD, and there's going to be lots of activities, singing, there's going to be kids' games, some of the old-fashioned games, the egg and spoon race and stuff like that. We're going to have a little bit of a market going on. There's going to be fashion shows, there's going to be a petting zoo, vintage cars, kapahaka, sideshows, all of that stuff. And for mums and dads, there'll be plenty of seats, there'll be plenty of cafes open for coffees, some stalls and stuff, and then the night ends with some fireworks. And then, of course, all the kids will go home, and then adults who want to party on, it's Riff Raff's 10th birthday. So hopefully a world record time warp and a bit of entertainment by Richard O'Brien, Riff Raff himself.
Tell me about the giant stage that's been built in Civic Square. There's going to be lots of entertainment on that, isn't there?
So we're going to have lots of music and performance, school groups, we're going to have choirs, all different sorts of music and entertainment to keep those in Garden Place, entertained at different things they can do. And also I think Garden Place will be a bit of a magnet, really. That's where the birthday cake will be and where we'll sing Happy Birthday. And also there'll be seats and stuff for relaxing there. And then for those who are a bit more adventurous, they can start moving down all the streets to all the different things. So, there's lots of planning's gone into this, and I really hope that everyone from Hamilton just turns out and has a great day.
The focus is on families, but also there's a bit of a focus on the environment this year with your rubbish bin recycling.
All that. When we run events in the city now, from a council perspective, we're really keen on all of that, recycling and making sure that we clean up afterwards. And, kids drive us to that as well. Children these days are that's a very important aspect for them. So, yes, we'll have all of that there. We're going to have special people with sashes so everyone can see, if they get lost and who to help and all of that. There's maps for people to know where to go. A big program's been developed. I think they'll be in the shops already to tell people what time everything's happening. But the important thing is it starts at 3 o'clock. And it finishes at 9 with the fireworks, and I think the fireworks are going off the river. So wherever you are in the city, you'll be able to see them, and I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to the birthday cake, actually. I think that's going to be neat.
What flavour cake?
Chocolate cake, everyone's favourite.
Now, you've teamed up with other organisations throughout the city, such as Sport Waikato.
We have. So Sport Waikato will be doing all the kids' games and sport activities. Wintech's going to be a great partner. We've got the dairy people coming in, Dairy NZ Ag Research. So they're going to be with the petting zoo. I think they're bringing the mechanical cow in, the robotic cow. And I'm sure there'll be milk bottles from Fonterra. Fonterra involved as well. And those squeezy cows they have, the stress buster cows they've got. So also the vintage car people, Ebbett's a great partner, Montana, Gallagher's, Grassroots Trust, lots of them, Trust Waikato, some great support, Sky City, some wonderful support from community groups and community organisations. It's a real reflection, I think, of the community feel we have for the city, and this is our final party for the year, and let's make it a really big, exciting one.
As Mayor of Hamilton, you're kind of like the mum of the birthday girl in a way. Looking back over this whole year, How are you feeling?
Look, I think Hamilton's coming of age. I think in the civic ceremony we had in August for the day, in my speech I did say that, you know, we're a teenager about to emerge into adulthood, and I genuinely believe that. I think the next decade is Hamilton's time. You know, we're really coming of age as a city in terms of our maturity, the way we value certain things in the city, the way we understand, you know, there's infrastructure, but there's also livability. Arts and culture are really important. I think we're coming together. This year's been about coming together as a community, understanding our past and the wonderful journey, but talking about where our future might be. And I think people have got that feel as well. When I go to lots of events and talk to people in the city, people are genuinely feeling, you know, like we're about to start down the road of something, you know, really big for the next decade. And I think that's about coming of age. And I think this celebration is very much about we've arrived.
For more information, go to hamilton150.co.nz or join the party at Garden Place in Hamilton from 3 p.m. on Saturday the 22nd of November. Now for our weather for Wednesday. Looking to the seas now. That is Central News for today. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email us news@tvcentral.co.nz. On tomorrow night's program, a Tauranga woman taking on the world's best in MMA, Soul Shed, the Tauranga startup taking on trade, and counting the wood pigeons. Until then, I'm Hilary Entwistle, and I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.